heard it. We've seen it in movies. Karate Kid, Hi-Ya. I don't know about any other movies, but karate chopping is something very common in karate, where they put the bricks and they put the board. Hi-Ya. Growing up, the students are basically taught 4 steps by their sensei in order to achieve this karate chop. When they're first put the board, they're like, sensei, this board is bigger than I am. How am I supposed to break this? And so they're terrified because they feel like they're going to hurt their hand. I mean, I would be too. And once they're older, some of them achieve it, and some of them don't. These 4 steps are, number 1, set the cinder blocks, put the board. Step 2, get in your stance. So you have to stand shoulder width apart, make sure you're nice and straight and prepared for the impact. Or if you're kneeling down, same, shoulder width apart. Step 3, get this. The senseis tell their students, you have to imagine that your hand is already going through the board. If not, this won't happen. If you don't imagine it, it won't happen. Doubt is not what faith is about. In Mark 11:20-25, this is the back end of the sandwich that Caleb was talking about. This is the bottom bread. This is after Jesus has already withered the tree, the fig tree. After he's already overturned the tables in the temple when he was hangry. They're passing by again by this fig tree that he withered. Verse 20. As they passed by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. And Peter remembered and said to him, Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed has withered. And Jesus answered them, have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And whenever you stand praying, forgive, if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. So in verse 21, they're passing by the fig tree, and Peter's like, whoa, look at the fig tree you cursed. The shock was insane for Peter for some reason. And some say that maybe it could have been the severity of the curse that Jesus had on this fig tree. Maybe he was very calm and was like, hey, you didn't give me fruit, I curse you. 2, some may believe that because Peter was so used to seeing miracles of blessing, by that I mean raising someone from the dead or taking someone's sickness away. He was probably so used to seeing a miracle of blessing that when he saw this miracle of cursing was like, oh my gosh, Jesus, you have power. And Jesus answered them, have faith in God. He opens up with the message of why he withered the tree. He basically set the example for them. Hey, I did this, so now you have to do this too. Shocker, Jesus always does that. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. So Jesus is basically saying, you have to tell this mountain to become uprooted. It has to pick itself up, and it has to throw itself in the sea. You have to believe. The word believe is seeing it to be true. Imagining your hand going through the board. Now the mountain, isn't that real in our lives? How many times do we have this huge mountain in front of us? I mean, I'm short, so Even a little hill with the mountains. But let's not use me as a reference. But we have this huge mountain in front of us. And we're like, God, do you see how big this mountain is? And God's like, hold up, let me take my magnifying glass home and try to find it. God's like, if you see the mountain the way I see it, you would have faith in me, and you would believe that this mountain would throw itself in the sea. Because it's not as big to me as it is to you. You have to have faith. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe, see to it that it be true. Believe that you have received it and it will be yours. How many times have you asked for something? You've asked for, I don't know, a dog or something. Or you've asked God for someone to be restored of something. And you're like, God, this person is going to die. I need you to heal him. And it doesn't happen. The person dies anyway. No matter how emotional you get, did you really believe in your heart that he was capable of healing him? You have to have faith. And whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. So there's two things that may probably keep you from receiving that answered prayer. And Jesus says it in this verse. One, if you don't have faith in God, who can do the impossible, then you won't receive an answered prayer. Two, if you don't forgive someone when you're asking for something, God won't forgive you. You probably won't get an answered prayer. You need to forgive before you ask. Last semester, in our Thanksgiving break, it seemed like a normal Thanksgiving break. We had our church anniversary of the former church I used to go to. It was always in Thanksgiving break. My mom's birthday. My dad was leading worship. And I was singing in the congregation. My brother was singing. My mom was singing. And I was singing along too. Then I saw my dad pacing. He looked like he didn't know what to do. And he started dripping sweat, turning very red. At that instant, I had a panic attack because I knew something was wrong. My dad never looks like he's in panic. My dad always holds it together. So I had a panic attack, and I just sat there by myself, just trying to calm myself down. My dad, it seemed like he wanted to stop everything, but he continued singing a song. Then in the interlude, he said, I need you all to extend your hands towards me. I'm having an attack in my body. And at that moment, it was like, when he said that, I started freaking out. Everyone was praying for him, interceding for him, and I was over here freaking out, not believing that anything would work. My dad gets off the stage, he goes into the restroom, he comes out pale white. And he's a Hispanic, so, you know. And he says, we're leaving, we have to go. So we get in the car. My dad is slouched in the seat in pain. He's not saying a word. And my mom says, we need to take you to the hospital. And my dad says, no, take me home. And I said, Dad, please, we need to take you to the hospital. And my dad was like, just take me home. And my mom was like, let's just take your blood pressure at my dad's house. We were kind of close to my grandpa's house. So we go to my grandpa's house, and boom, I have yet another panic attack. Always expecting the worst. We get to my grandpa's house. They take my dad's blood pressure, and it was out of the roof. It was too much to even imagine. At that moment, I was tapping my feet, I was shaking, I was just trying to calm myself. I tried to be calm for my dad. And then my dad's left arm starts hurting. And that's when we kind of reacted and we're like, we have to take you to the emergency room now. And we took him to the emergency room. It was an emergency clinic. We told them the symptoms. They didn't even let us finish talking. They rushed him in. They didn't even let us finish filling out the documents. He had to go in immediately. They took 2 EKGs to confirm, and he was having a heart attack. And they said most likely it was a clogged artery, and they needed to fly him to San Antonio immediately. By this time, it was already like 12 midnight, 1 in the morning. We were all very exhausted. And I was petrified. My parents were already on their way to San Antonio in the helicopter. My brother and I went to our house to pack bags for my mom and dad. And this is when I started questioning God. And I said, why? Why do we have to be packing bags for them right now? We should be celebrating my mom's birthday today. Why are we packing bags for my parents? Why is my dad sick? You said you had a purpose for him. Why is he sick? His dad died at 50 of a heart attack, so you can already expect what I was thinking. When we get to San Antonio, we sit there in the waiting area. It was probably around 20 minutes since he was there way before we were. We had to drive there. It was around 20 minutes that we waited, and the doctor comes out and he says, he did great. He says, we have no idea how he's alive right now. First of all, we have no idea why he even had a heart attack in the first place. He's thin, he's fit, he eats well. Why did he have a heart attack? He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. He said his artery was 100% clogged. 100%. He said people come in of this clogged artery, they call it the widowmaker. People come in of this clogged artery, and they don't make it out. He's like, you must have someone watching out there for you. And I said, oh yes, we do. We do. And all that week, all that Thanksgiving break, we spent the week at the hospital. And the nurses would tell us, they were in shock. They were like, right now, just to have him here to us, it's just a miracle. We don't even know how to fathom it. And when I look back at it, when my dad was singing, do you know what song he was singing? He was singing God of the Impossible. When I was on the way to San Antonio, that's when I kind of had the realization that I needed to have faith in God. I said, God, at this point, I can't do anything if I panic. I have faith in you that you will get him through this because you said you have a purpose for him. We need to have faith in God and not doubt him. When I panic, it's because I'm doubting. That's what we all do. And I did it before coming up here too. Doubt is not what faith is about. If we have the board in front of us, if we don't imagine our hand going through it, the board isn't going to break. Now, when we're at home or having our prayer time, if you have a prayer list, write down in the top of it, doubt is not what faith is about, so that you're reminded of the faith that you need to have as you're praying for whatever it is you're praying. Let's pray. I thank you, Jesus, for this time that you gave me to share. I ask that this word resonate in their hearts, that they may be reminded of it, and that they may go out and live it. In Jesus' name,